to another segment of Healthy Body, Healthy Mind. Welcome back, Dr. Johan. Nice to have you. Today I'd like to just give you something that happened to me years ago. I was at Varsity University and I had bad stomach cramps. I went to a doctor and he said it's a virus going around. There's a lot of things going in the air and there's exam time and bugs and flus. He gave me antibiotic. And by the Monday, I was in the exam, and I still remember the pain started, again, but I couldn't walk. At that stage, I had to call an invigilator and ask if I could do it orally. And then I don't know if I fainted or I fell out the chair, but I was in trouble. And when I got to the doctor for a second opinion, he said my appendix was in the process of rupturing or ruptured, and rushed me off to the hospital. So now, years later, as a mom, any stomach cramp or severe pain, I'm always thinking the worst, the appendix could burst. So I also have heard that you can have deferred pain where you think it's appendix, but it's coming from another area. So how do we know for sure as a mom when to panic if you suspect appendicitis?
It's a good question. The area where the appendix is in the tummy is normally in the right upper and lower area above your pelvis, and it's in that quadrant area almost very below and to the right of your umbilicus. That is the inflammation area relating to an appendix. So the question you'd have to ask yourself is, my child or my daughter is complaining of pain in that region.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an appendix? You've had a terrible experience, misdiagnosis, or diagnosis made too late. So you fear that that little area where the pain is likely to be a burst appendix, or can it be? When it can happen, what am I going to do? The answer you have is your child will tell you in no uncertain terms the degree of the pain. I've got to bend over to relieve that pain, or I've got to pull my legs up to relieve that pain, or I'm nauseous, or I'm running a temperature, or I'm been constipated for a day or two before, and also my urine, when I pass urine, is a feeling that I'm irritable. I need to perhaps even wee. So all little symptoms that you may pick up add up to a picture. When the doctor sees you, he will check on those symptoms, and he'll also check on your history and the time frame. Something acute is acute. It's now. Hour, 2 hours ago.
At one point, am I taking my daughter to the doctor? So I'm giving her something that I maybe got in the cupboard.
Yeah,
right?
you will try, and you'll see if that relieves her. I mean, that's the normal process. Mothers are concerned, give her something analgesic, antipyretic, combined up, whatever you prefer, and what you've got in the house. And you will watch and observe, and she will turn around and say to you, Mom, it's this or that. If she's female, she'll even tell you when it's her period, when it's like that she's having a menses, or when it's ovulation time. All things in a female are also very much involved in the anatomy of this area. Because there's the colon, there's the fallopian tube, there's the ovaries there, there's the uterus that's there in the female. In the male, we've got the ureter, and the female, the ureter that passes by there. So there are factors in that anatomy, all of which could be inflamed either together independently or not to do with an appendix. So you could have a bowel that's inflamed, you could have the ureter that's inflamed from an infection, ascending or coming down from the kidneys. You could have a fallopian tube, because it just happens to be that there's a period of infection or something that's ascended from the uterus. Or you could have an ovary, because it just happened to be that time of the month where the female has ovulated. And ovulation pain is not uncomfortable. Causes that lower backache as well, that little feeling down the same area. And then you could have, of course, the factors involving your uterus as a female. It could be what we call period pains, which could relate to many things outside the uterus, in the uterus. So you've got to be discerning on the history. Okay. You as a mother sitting there, giving the Panadas or giving the antipyretic, would say, it sounds like it's a period, or it sounds like this. Let's just wait and see. But then eventually the pain will become of a notice that says, I need somebody to check this out.
So the pain's going to definitely increase with
it will then change. And normally it could change to go refer down your leg, or refer more to the side or in the back or up to your umbilicus. It like refers in terms of it's almost as if the pain is spreading in a direction. And then you say, but there's something wrong here, this is not normal. Then you would take your daughter, son, and you'd have the doctor examine the patient.
Would you have fever always with this at this point?
You may not have fever, but
so
you
that's not a definite indicator.
You may have a feeling of illness. You can even have nausea. You can even have lots of other side effects. The feverish feeling is usually not a good sign. It's a sign of a more advanced occlusion of the appendix on the colon. And when the occlusion occurs in that little hollow channel where the appendix is hanging off the bowel, that little occlusion can cause collection of bowel products in the actual appendix, and that can inflame because it bugs and all that thing. And that's when it, blocked at the top, can't in any way extrude into the bowel again, and the appendix actually blows up like as if in a balloon. And then of course you heard the word mentioned, burst appendix, septic appendix, and the appendix actually ruptures, and that's the real terminology. It ruptures, and the contents of the appendix then lies in that around the bowel, and that's sort of what we call peritonitis. And ironically, you can actually still get away with that.
Because so it's not fatal when that happens.
Not necessarily, but it is of such a severe nature that your omentum, that's the fat that lies over our bowel inside, the omentum protects and goes immediately to cover that area, to isolate that burst appendix contents, so that you don't have more pain, inflammation. So persons who are stuck in a desert or in a forest or in a place where they're travelling and they've got nothing else to do, they're lucky if they get away with it when this omentum protects them. And you can save yourself by just having an opportunity to say, well, I've got over the worst, I can carry on with my journey. But 90% of these things don't end up so happily. So your answer is the examination.
Okay.
The examination and findings of investigation. And they're very simple. Blood check, little ultrasound of the tummy, your direct examination, your rebound, they call it, and the tummy is actually pushed in and you release it, and there's such a shock pain. And it's always in this little area concerned on the right, lower iliac fossa area, or upper area from the hip, and proximate to the, what we call the umbilicus. That rebound will give you an answer. There's a peritonitic pain here. Peritonitis.
No, you don't necessarily have to have your appendix out. I think in the old days it was sort of having your tonsils out, you don't need your appendix, you have it out, but not today, right? I mean, can you have antibiotics? Can the doctor decide at what stage?
Yeah, the treatment would depend on, again, everything. The symptoms, the treatment, the examination, the findings, etc. Because of our modern day travel and the modern day costs of medication in foreign countries, it has almost become panacea. If you've got a slight grumbler there or slightly irritable, anything that's in that region that you're likely to be thinking of as possible, appendicitis, not a burst. Let the surgeon be happy, even if he's what we would call knife happy, and let him take it out. For the simple reason, you're actually going to be traveling a lot in your life. If it is your background says your families move around, or you're likely to be traveling a lot, or your profession says so. It's a precaution. But you don't have to have every appendix out. No. Antibiotics do work, and the pain management helps. So you've got so many variations. But the bottom line is, listen to the story. Accept what the pain's about. See what relieves the pain. All of which is fine if it settles down within 24 hours.
That's the thing, yeah. But it's going to get worse. The pain is going to get worse.
If it gets worse,
you're going to know you're in trouble.
Get some opinion from a doctor who will turn around and he'll examine you and he'll do the investigation.
You'll take it from there.
And that's your answer.
Thank you very much. That was very informative. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you then. Bye-bye.